A seven-headed beast rises from the sea. 4 horsemen bring death and destruction. A woman clothed with the sun battles a dragon. These aren't scenes from a horror movie. They're detailed prophecies written 2,000 years ago that millions believe will come true. The book of Revelation contains over 300 symbols, and each one points to specific events that could happen in our lifetime. But here's what most people don't know. These symbols aren't random. They follow a precise pattern that unlocks the entire timeline of the end times. The 7 seals. When the Lamb opens the first seal, a white horse appears with a rider carrying a bow but no arrows. This isn't Jesus. This is the Antichrist appearing as a peaceful conqueror. He wins battles without fighting, making deals and treaties that seem to bring global peace. The second seal releases a red horse, whose rider removes peace from the earth. The sword he carries represents civil wars breaking out everywhere. Nations tear themselves apart from within as the false peace crumbles. The third seal brings a black horse carrying scales. The rider announces that a day's wages will buy only enough grain for one person. This isn't just inflation. This is complete economic collapse, where food becomes more valuable than gold. The fourth seal releases the pale horse, ridden by death himself. 1/4 of humanity dies from war, famine, disease, and wild animals taking over abandoned cities. But this is just the beginning. The fifth seal reveals the souls of martyrs under God's altar, crying out for justice. These are Christians killed during the tribulation, and their blood demands vengeance. The sixth seal brings cosmic disasters, earthquakes, a black sun, blood moon, and stars falling to earth. Kings and rich men hide in caves, begging mountains to fall on them. The seventh seal brings 30 minutes of complete silence in heaven before unleashing the trumpet judgments. The dragon with 7 heads. In chapter 12, a massive red dragon appears with 7 heads, 10 horns, and crowns on each head. His tail sweeps 1/3 of the stars from heaven and hurls them to earth. This dragon is Satan, and those stars represent the angels who fell with him in his original rebellion. The dragon has 7 heads because he controls 7 world empires throughout history: Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, and the final empire led by the Antichrist. Each head represents his influence over these kingdoms. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will give their power to the beast in the final days. These aren't symbolic rulers, they're actual political leaders who will unite under one government system. The dragon positions himself in front of a woman about to give birth, ready to devour her child the moment it's born. This woman represents Israel, and her child is Jesus Christ. But Satan fails to destroy Christ, so he turns his fury on the woman's other children, the saints. When the dragon gets thrown down to earth, he knows his time is short. This is why the final 3.5 years of tribulation are so intense. Satan pours out his complete wrath because he knows Christ's return is coming. The beast from the sea. The first beast rises from the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns, just like the dragon. But this beast has a fatal wound on one of its heads that gets miraculously healed. The whole world marvels at this healing and follows the beast. This fatal wound represents the Roman Empire that died centuries ago but gets revived in the end times. The beast speaks blasphemous words against God and makes war against the saints for exactly 42 months. This is the 3.5-year period when the Antichrist rules the world with absolute power. Everyone on earth worships this beast, except those whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. The beast's authority extends over every tribe, language, and nation. No government or military force can resist his power. The sea this beast rises from represents the masses of humanity in chaos and rebellion. Unlike the second beast that comes from the earth, this beast emerges from the turbulent nations of the world. The beast from the earth. The second beast comes from the earth and looks like a lamb, but speaks like a dragon. This is the false prophet who appears religious and peaceful, but promotes the worship of the first beast. This beast performs miraculous signs, even making fire come down from heaven in front of people. These aren't tricks or illusions. They're actual supernatural powers given by Satan to deceive the world. The false prophet creates an image of the first beast and gives it breath so it can speak. Anyone who refuses to worship this image gets killed immediately. This image isn't just a statue, it's some form of artificial intelligence or technology that can think and communicate. The earth this beast comes from represents stability and religious tradition. While the first beast emerges from political chaos, the false prophet comes from established religious systems that people already trust. The mark of the beast. 666. The false prophet forces everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or forehead. Without this mark, no one can buy or sell anything. This isn't just about identification, it's about worship. Taking the mark means pledging allegiance to the beast system and rejecting God completely. Once someone receives this mark, they can never be saved. Their eternal fate is sealed. The number 666 is the number of a man. In Greek and Hebrew, letters have numerical values. Many scholars believe this number will identify the Antichrist by name when he's revealed. But the mark represents more than just a number. It's a complete economic control system where every transaction gets monitored and approved by the beast's government. The mark also changes people spiritually. Those who receive it develop painful sores that never heal. They curse God, but refuse to repent. The mark corrupts both their bodies and souls permanently. Keep watching, because the next symbols reveal God's response to this beast system, and it's far more terrifying than anything Satan can do. The woman clothed with the sun. A woman appears in heaven, clothed with the sun, standing on the moon, with a crown of 12 stars on her head. She's pregnant and cries out in labor pains as she's about to give birth. This woman represents both Israel and the church. The 12 stars are the 12 tribes of Israel, or the 12 apostles. The sun represents God's glory covering her, and the moon under her feet shows her victory over the changing cycles of earthly kingdoms. When she gives birth, the dragon tries to devour her child, but the child gets caught up to God's throne. This child represents Jesus Christ, who ascended to heaven after his resurrection. The woman flees into the wilderness, where God prepared a place for her to be fed for 1,260 days. This is exactly 3.5 years, the same duration as the Great Tribulation. God protects his people during the worst persecution in human history. She's given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness. Some believe this represents America protecting Israel during the tribulation, since the eagle is America's national symbol. The 2 witnesses. God gives power to his two witnesses to prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and two lampstands standing before the God of the earth. These witnesses have incredible supernatural power. If anyone tries to harm them, fire comes out of their mouths and kills their enemies. They can shut up the sky so no rain falls, turn rivers into blood, and strike the earth with plagues as often as they want. Many believe these witnesses are Moses and Elijah returned to earth. Moses turned rivers into blood and brought plagues on Egypt. Elijah called down fire from heaven and stopped rain for 3.5 years. Both men appeared with Jesus during his transfiguration. After their testimony is complete, the beast from the bottomless pit kills both witnesses. Their dead bodies lie in the street of Jerusalem for 3.5 days, while people around the world celebrate and send each other gifts because these prophets had tormented them. But then the breath of life from God enters the witnesses, and they stand up. Terror falls on everyone watching. A voice from heaven calls them up, and they ascend in a cloud while their enemies watch. The same hour, a great earthquake destroys 1/10 of Jerusalem and kills 7,000 people. Babylon, the great harlot. A woman sits on a scarlet beast covered with blasphemous names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman is dressed in purple and scarlet, decorated with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She holds a golden cup full of abominations and the filth of her sexual immorality. On her forehead is written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and of the abominations of the earth. She's drunk with the blood of saints and the blood of witnesses of Jesus. This woman represents the false religious and economic system that controls the world during the tribulation. She rides the beast, meaning she uses political power to enforce her corrupt practices. Kings of the earth commit adultery with her, and merchants become rich from her excessive luxuries. She controls global commerce through deception and spiritual corruption, but the beast eventually turns against her and burns her with fire. The 10 horns hate the harlot, strip her naked, eat her flesh, and completely destroy her. Even Satan's allies can't trust each other when power is at stake. When Babylon falls, merchants weep because no one buys their goods anymore. In 1 hour, all her wealth is destroyed. Ship captains and sailors watch her burn from far away, throwing dust on their heads and weeping. The rider on the white horse. Heaven opens, and a white horse appears with a rider called Faithful and True. His eyes are like flames of fire, and many crowns are on his head. He has a name written that no one knows except himself. He's clothed in a robe dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. The armies of heaven follow him on white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Out of his mouth comes a sharp sword to strike the nations. He will rule them with a rod of iron and trample the winepress of God's fierce wrath. On his robe and thigh is written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. This rider is Jesus Christ returning to earth in power and glory. Unlike his first coming as a humble servant, he returns as a conquering king to judge the world and establish his kingdom. The beast and kings of the earth gather their armies to fight against this rider and his army, but they can't win. The beast and false prophet are captured alive and thrown into the lake of fire. Their armies are killed by the sword from Christ's mouth. The New Jerusalem. A new heaven and new earth appear because the first heaven and earth pass away. The New Jerusalem descends from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. This city measures 1,500 miles long, wide, and high, a perfect cube like the Holy of Holies in the temple. The wall is 216 feet thick, made of jasper, while the city itself is pure gold, transparent as glass. The foundation has 12 layers of precious stones. jasper, sapphire, emerald, sardonyx, sardius, chrysolite, beryl, topaz, chrysoprase, jacinth, amethyst. Each of the 12 gates is a single pearl with an angel standing guard. The city needs no sun or moon because God's glory illuminates it. The nations walk by its light, and the kings of the earth bring their glory into it. The gates never shut because there's no night there. A pure river flows from God's throne down the middle of the city's main street. The tree of life grows on both sides, bearing 12 fruits, a different fruit each month. The leaves heal the nations. God's servants see his face, and his name is written on their foreheads. They reign with Christ forever and ever in perfect peace and joy. Daniel was told to seal his prophecies until the time of the end, but John was commanded not to seal Revelation because the time is near. Every symbol we've explored could begin fulfilling at any moment. The question isn't whether these events will happen, it's whether you'll be ready when they do. Some of these symbols are already taking shape in our world today, and the next one could appear. What do you think? Are we living in the time when these prophecies start coming true? Comment below with your thoughts and subscribe to our channel for more biblical mysteries that reveal what's really happening in our world.